Hello, it's me, Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. Venus enters Gemini July 4th, and it will stay in Gemini until July 30th. When Venus is in Gemini, things are about to get really fast. It's going to get really flirty and full of unexpected twists. Be ready to be flexible. Be ready to be adaptable with any Venus themes. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to break it all down for you just in this video. We're going to go over every important aspect, how it'll affect your love life, inner harmony, money. I have horoscopes, I have tarot, and make sure you stay all the way to the end so you can get every last detail. Let's get started. 3, 2, 1. I love you. First, let's talk about all the Venus themes so you can understand what we're dealing with. And then I'll go over to the Gemini and then we'll tie it in together. Venus, the planet, represents love and romance. It represents our relationships, our female relationships, and if you are what you are attracted to. It not only talks about what you're attracted to, but what you attract yourself naturally. It's our planet of beauty and our aesthetics, art and creativity, connections, socializing. It's the planet of the party. It's about money and material values. It represents our self-worth, our self-esteem. It also is very diplomatic. It deals with some law, justice, and social grace. Venus is also the planet of collaboration and teamwork. Venus is the ruler of Taurus, so it involves our comfort and what we indulge. Do you want to go to the spa? Venus and what sign it's in is going to tell us what we want to indulge in. It's about conflict and resolution. It's about peace and harmony. And I think I already said social gatherings. Now, because we live in such a political climate, Venus, in regards to anything political, is going to talk about our relationships with other countries. Ours, I say America, but you could be in any country. It's the relationship with a country. It's going to talk about the economy, because again, it deals with money and what we naturally attract. Also, political leaders and their charm. It could talk about anything dealing with women, because Venus does represent women energy, feminine energy, global alliances, inflation, the luxury market, anything dealing with justice and fairness in politics, and even the law. Now, if you really like this and you want to go deeper, you want a further breakdown of Venus and Gemini and astrology itself, or maybe you need clarity for your love life, or you're having a creative block, or maybe it's just a partnership, like a business partnership, and you really want more details into that. I have exclusive content, and I even have more exclusive content in regards to Venus and Gemini. It is in my community, and I know it's like, another community, I have to pay for it. This is cheaper than a cup of coffee, and it's worth every dollar. The link is down below, but in this community, I've already done an exclusive reading on Venus in Gemini. I've done a survival strategy guide on Cancer season alone. I've even done the July forecast and broke that down. Now I have a whole video on that, but this is written down so you can look at the dates within the month. I even talk about what good timing for certain things, like if you want to launch something, what good time for money, good energy for relationships. I even have exclusive content on Pluto and Aquarius and how that affects surveillance and freedom of speech. That's just some of the things that I've done within the recent posts. So like within the past week. So go ahead and click the link down below. It is a great community. You will love it. And you can even ask personal questions, like want your astrology chart read, more questions about like your chart or your financial chart, or if you want to relocate and buy a home, all that for $4.99 a month. Okay. So it is a gift for you guys, and I love doing what I do. So go ahead and check the link down below. Now, if you're like, I don't want to pay for anything, I have a free newsletter that you can join, and I do get some extra astrology tips, and sometimes I pull tarot on my newsletter. It is weekly. I break down a weekly astrology. You get that for free. I also have an ebook. If you cannot afford to do your own reading, you can purchase an ebook, and it teaches you how to read your own chart. Other than that, if you're here for this video, thank you for joining. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, helps me out. Even put like a little emoji, that helps me out even further. It gives me my flowers and helps me continue making the content just for you. Now let's talk about Gemini, the cosmic messenger. Now we already talked about Venus, so now we're going to talk about Gemini. And Gemini themes are major on communication. I'm talking about talking, writing, emailing, text messaging, even social media. If you are writing a book, if you are doing public speaking, any type of information exchange. Gemini is also in charge of curiosity and variety. It's very adaptable. It's very flexible. It wants all the options. It's the rainbow. Give me all of it, darling. There is short attention spans too with Gemini Gemini energy. Gemini is in charge of learning, anything you're learning new and knowledge, and it likes to share its knowledge. There is duality, which I was talking about, the adaptability and flexibility when we were talking about the rainbows. Some people say Gemini energy is a flip-flopper. There is that, but there's also this energy of seeing both sides. So it can hold both truths and it could be very contradictory. Gemini is also in charge of the local environment, your community, your neighborhood, and your siblings as well. It's in charge of anything dealing with media. So the newspaper, broadcasting, podcasts, any misinformation, that's Gemini energy. Gemini also represent youth energy. So like the children, maybe even Gen Z or the youth or teenagers. Gemini represents traveling, day-to-day travel, any type of mobility, even walking, biking, running, getting on a train, traveling via a taxi or Waymo. Now Waymo is a thing. Or flying. Anywhere locally, that is Gemini energy. Also to your relatives, your cousins, networking, social skills, that's all Gemini. Wit and humor, Gemini is very funny. It likes to play some pranks as well. It's great problem-solving energy. You're talking about puzzles, brainstorming, a lot of mental ability, and very fast. It's very trendy. Again, it's connected to that youth energy. It likes to stay young, so it keeps up on the trends. Gemini wants freedom of speech, freedom of thought, because it rules communication when you're talking about politics. Get ready for propaganda, media bias, misinformation. A lot of debates in regards to anything. Doesn't have to be politics, because Gemini likes to debate, see both sides. I think a lot of discussions on censorship and freedom of speech, especially because we have Pluto retrograding in Aquarius. Social media, technology, that's going to be heavy even with politics or even in relationships with politics. Politicians could do a lot of double talk, a little flip-flopping kind of energy. Anything dealing with early education, look for themes of that in Venus. Messages regarding law and regulations that might be pushed more. Even like voting could be a thing with Venus and Gemini, and we'll discuss that a little bit more, but I'm thinking like just the information overload and talking about the campaigns and talking about political parties. You'll see all that when Venus comes in Gemini. So what are some collective themes? And these are just general themes that happens every time Venus is in Gemini for the collective. There could be charming conversation, okay? You are going to find yourself more attracted to the conversation, to the mind, to intellectual stimulating messages. Watch out, because politicians and our YouTubers and our social media people might be more communicative. Media, messages, public image, huge when Venus is in Gemini. There's a big focus on how love and beauty and values are going to be more in media, and it's going to be more communicated. Substance becomes more obvious. Rebranding, speeches, launching campaigns, all that is great under this Venus and Gemini energy. People will be more intellectually curious about what they value. So a lot of debates over social values, gender, love, feminine energy, freedom of expression. Even too, because Gemini likes it all, you know, you have a lot of love and a lot of focus on love when it comes to polyamory. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I have to look down to pronounce it correctly. Anything dealing with queerness, gay, bisexual, all that is going to be more accepted or loved, or maybe you'll be more attracted to hear it out. A lot of social fluidity. That's more like explaining it. Networking with friends, with allies, and going to a lot of social events will be bigger, because Gemini is very social, and now it's in a planet that deals with socializing. And when you are at these parties, everyone's going to be really communicating and discussing and maybe even debating, but a lot of learning at parties as well too, or any type of social event that involves learning something new for the first time. Not the first time, but the beginning of the stages of. There could be some double standards in relationships, and we're not just talking about love relationships, we're also talking about partnerships or female friendships, or even in politics. So when you are in love, when you are creating, when you are talking about harmony, there's a lot of change and fluidity with this energy, okay? So you're at a party, all of a sudden the party's changed, okay? And you gotta be adaptable anytime you're dealing with Gemini energy is in the themes of Venus, okay? So it's to be flexible with this. And maybe there will be more of attraction of leaders who are feminine, who are female, and they are discussing a lot of things. You'll probably be attracted more to feminine speeches, or females debating, or about female energy. Negotiation and being diplomatic. There will be a lot of contracts involving this because you're talking about literally writing, or maybe you'll be attracted to more of book talks or authors or booktubers, or even podcasters. You will be questioning what you value in love, what you value for your harmony, what does to be more balanced when it comes to, you're going to be rethinking or thinking, how can you become more balanced? Attraction, as far as fashion, is going to be trends. Talking about the trends, the latest trends, how to look young, how to stay young, all of that will be more of the fashion department when it comes to Venus. Decorations or aesthetics is going to be more youthful energy and more trendy. But there could be some superficial communication at some parties or with loved ones or with a business partner. Inconsistency in relationships, because Gemini wants it all, moves fast, a little restless. You can get that energy in a partner. There could be ghosting, breadcrumbing, double talking. There could be a lot of manipulation, and it could be very charmful. Talking behind other people's backs or a loved one's back or your partner's back, and a lot of flip-flopping, or maybe even playing both sides in regards to a relationship. Even when you're talking about politics, there's going to be a heavy theme in regards to relationships and them texting, or not texting, tweeting or putting it on X. We are going to see that more in the news, or global relationships. There could be scattered focus. A lot of people with short attention spans. People in relationships could be distracted with love, multitasking, and ignoring anything that's deep. Gemini energy is very superficial. It doesn't like to go beyond the surface level, and because it's got its hands on too many things, and it can't focus on the deepness of things. Could be overstimulated socially as a culture. There could be a social burnout due to constant communication. Gemini is a very social energy, so socializing and Venus together is a lot of parties, a lot of social gatherings, a lot of communicating with a lot of people. So you could easily get burnt out. You could be overthinking any type of love or love connection, analyzing the emotions instead of feeling them. There could be a lot of misuse with words, charming words, sweet lies. You could be manipulating and even passive aggressive when it comes to words. The zodiac signs most affected with Venus in the sign Gemini. Well, first of all, we have to say it's going to be Geminis, right? It might be hitting your sun or be hitting your personal planets. And just know, go with the flow, be adaptable, be mutable, and you might be very talkative. Watch out for scattered energy though. Now, all of my Sagittarius, this is going to be opposing you, and your relationship might be on a spotlight, or something with your harmony could be imbalanced, and you need to see there's an opposition here for your inner harmony. You could be lost in the sauce when it comes to there could be an opposition of what you value. Watch out for any miscommunication or any clashes dealing with your harmony. Virgos and Pisces. This is a mutable sign, so this is squaring your personal planets. There could be some challenge or change happening in regards to your relationships, your harmony, or even if you're at a party. Pisces, try not to use escapism to deal with this Venus energy. Virgos, try not to perfect or focus on the details. As far as my Libras and Aquarius, this is very positive for you. This is going to be trining any of your personal planets. You're going to feel more harmonious. You're going to attract a lot of friendships. Female friendships will be great for you. A lot of parties, a lot of great energy far as like what you naturally attract. And you're going to be naturally attracting either some great contracts or naturally attracting positive words. All my Taurus and Libra risings, this is going to, of course, affect you. This is your ruling planet. It is changing in the sign Gemini. You're going to be more talkative, and we'll get into the horoscopes a little bit later, but Venus is your ruling planet, so whatever it does affects you. Anyone born in the daytime, then know that Venus is your benefic planet, and it works really well for your chart. And whenever it has positive aspects or conjunctions, most likely it's positive for you. Now, while Venus is in Gemini, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, so whatever Mercury is doing is going to affect Venus. Mercury currently is in the sign Leo, and it's going to retrograde July 4th all the way to August 4th. This is going to overlap while Venus is in Gemini. First of all, Mercury in Leo, basically, how does that affect Venus? That means when we're socializing and saying certain things, there could be a little drama, people on stage, things dealing with kids, or you're wearing your heart on your sleeve when you're communicating. Now, while it's retrograding, be careful of any gossip or redoing or repeating. Just take your time when it comes to relationships or trying to enhance your harmony and your balance or justice. Words could be a little flashy and confusing. There could be some romantic misunderstandings, maybe even conflict. And you're like, why is this person so dramatic? Even with politicians, Leo represents the leader. It represents the president. It represents the king. there could be a lot of interesting dynamics happening globally within global relationships. So alliances of some sort. Venus in Gemini wants the stimulation, but Mercury retrograding in that sign Leo could be distracting. It could be overwhelming, and it can cause people to do some second guesses. Just be aware of that when you're socializing. Other than that, take your time, be adaptable, be flexible, you'll be fine. Just be mindful of any gossip, ex-lovers, especially for all my Leos. Impulsive decisions when it comes to love, when it comes to socializing, when it comes to a party. You have to be adaptable, but just be aware that Mercury is going to be retrograding. Verbal clashes, it's going to be a thing. Just take your time, apologize, go with the flow. How to navigate this, just make sure you triple check anything you're signing, anything you're writing, anything you're reading. Maybe you have to reconnect or redo some things, and it's okay because that's what retrogrades are here for. Let humor and wit take over because Gemini likes to have fun and likes to laugh. Embrace any redoing, any re-editing, any repeating, any rethinking. Accept it. Let's talk about the aspects and important dates while Venus is in Gemini. July 4th, Venus enters Gemini, and then it will conjunct Uranus in Gemini. It's going to have a minor grand trine. I talked about this in my previous video. Go ahead and check that out. It is way more detailed, but is going to sextile Neptune and Saturn's conjunction in Aries, and then it's going to trine Pluto that is retrograding in Aquarius. I have a whole video on this. This is very positive. Once Venus enters Gemini, all the things that I talked about in Venus in Gemini will be positive. And so look for the positive aspects of being adaptable, being out there, launching something, producing something, anything dealing with communication. If you are a writer, if you are trying to people through word of mouth, through social media, this is a great time to do it. Pluto adds the transformation, it adds the intensity, and it adds the healing aspect in the sign Aquarius, so anything dealing with technology or communication. And then Neptune and Saturn conjunction is going to make things very long-term, make things very creative, and there's a sense of compassion and empathy added to this energy. So it's very positive. The sextile is action that you have to use. You have to actually do it for it to work. So think about the long-term, practical, detailed things, anything dealing with Venus aspect, anything dealing with socializing, love, write whatever. I don't want to get too detailed because I did this in a video, but go ahead and check that out. Now, and that is July 4th. So July 4th, it looks very positive. Venus in Gemini, 0 degrees. It's going to be a huge impulsive energy, very fast, very talkative, very social. July 4th is going to have a lot of fun energy. On July 5th, Neptune will start to retrograde in Aries. This is part of that sextile, and there'll be some redoing when it comes to illusions or secrets or deceptions. July 13th, Saturn will retrograde in Aries, and when Saturn retrogrades in Aries, then you get this seriousness and details, and then you get long-term energy. Even the government is involved with this. I will do a separate video on the retrogrades and these planets, but remember, it still has this positive aspect with Venus because that's what we're discussing, Venus. But I want you to know that they're going to be retrograding. So there's going to be some slowing up when it comes to the government, when it comes to corporation, when it comes to anything that's very serious and long term. And on July 18th, Mercury is going to be retrograding in Leo. We discussed how this affects Venus. So this is a lot of repeating and redoing and slowing up when it comes to the planet of love. Venus on the 18th was sextile Mercury in Leo. So this is positive. This is action energy, though. It's positive. That needs to have some action towards it. So if you want to talk about having some great love, if you want to talk about having some harmony or a partnership, then go ahead and do it. But you have to actually do it. You have to actually write it down. You have to actually read the contract. You have to actually write the book. July 21st, this is where the first time that I feel like Venus is not in its best, and it will be squaring the South Node, and the South Node is conjunct. It's going to be T-squaring the South and North Node, and the South Node is conjunct Mars. And this is going to be something that's going to cause a conflict and some tension here. Focus is Venus, though. Venus wants you to have some harmony. Venus wants you to have a balance. Venus wants you to be fair and have justice. And there's going to be a conflict of what you're supposed to pursue in this lifetime and what you're letting go. There's some aggression far as your past here, and you have to focus on the harmony, the balance. Just want to throw out happy solar return July 22nd. Sun will be will enter Leo, and then July 24th we will have a Leo moon. I would do individual videos on both of those, but we're still talking about Venus. Venus is going to square Mars Mars officially on the 23rd. And remember that Mars is sitting next to that South Node. So anything that you're pursuing, there's this attachment here of the past and you need to release it. The South Node is in the sign Virgo. Mars is in Virgo. So there's something about the details, something about being over judgmental, and you have to let that go. You have to release that. Someone from your job or a workplace or an employee or someone who is supposed to be of service may be getting in the way of something that you need to release. On the 28th, then we have Venus in Gemini. It will sextile Chiron in Aries. This is some healing, but you have to do the work. You have to go to therapy. You have to read the self-help book, and it will work out great for you. July 30th, then that's when Venus will enter Cancer, and you will leave the fast energy and slow down and become more emotional and focus on your home and protection. So this is what I have far as love and relationships. Venus is going to conjunct Uranus July 3rd to the 4th. It's going to be at 29 degrees in Taurus. I've talked about that, and then it will go into Gemini. So expect some surprises in love, unexpected attractions, sudden breakups, or new connections that are going to spark something very quickly. This is a very curious energy, so you may be very flirty in the DMs or witty, or there's some banter. So there could be some mental stimulation with partners, and you can become more attracted to someone who's actually intelligent, who can carry a conversation. Now, Venus will be squaring Mars in Virgo, and when it does that on the 23rd, there could be tensions between what you desire and practicality. There could be some romantic misunderstandings. And when it T-squares the North nodes, then remember you have to love department. There will be a focus there and choices around old patterns versus what you're supposed to be doing in the future. And Venus sextile Chiron on the 28th. Far as love and relationships and even partnerships, there's going to be a healing moment, and it's going to come in a romantic way. As far as our money and finances, when Venus is conjunct Uranus, there is some surprise when it comes to finances, sudden changes in what you value or your spending habits. You may want to invest in something that deals with technology or apps or anything dealing with some type of communication, like a book or a writer or a podcast. Unpredictable income or expenses could be coming. This could be good or bad, because when it's conjunct, there it is. But Venus is a benefic planet, so it could be very positive. Now, you have that minor grand trine happening when it comes to money. So this is good energy for reworking anything financial or some financial strategies, especially tech-based or artistic ventures. You may discover powerful new streams of income through creativity, networking, and it's very long-term and very practical. Venus sextile Mercury retrograding in Leo. Far as money, this is July 18th. You got to review the contracts, review anything that you're signing, especially if it's about your self-expression or you being a leader. But it's going to work out great. You have to put in a work, though, and attention to the details of that. Far as politics and social justice, Venus in Gemini is very charming, and it's going to be used as a political tool. Politicians may be more appealing. They will be more conversational. Watch them on a podcast. They're going to be watch their language. Gemini is about the language, okay? Watch for spin, double speak, doubling down on things, or public relationship stunts, okay? It's going to T-square those nodes and Mars. So politically, we're going to some tension around national values and being very diplomatic. No, there could be potentials for some scandals involving women leaders or social media or economic inequality. Now, that Pluto trine Venus and Uranus, this is great for shifts for anything dealing with women's rights or anything dealing with relationships, far as business relationships or the economy. Now, if you're going to a party while Venus is in Gemini, welcome to the party, because everyone's probably going to attend some type of social gathering while Venus is in Gemini. It's the energy of social butterflies. They are going to love this energy. A lot of lighthearted discussions. This is great for networking, parties, even being spontaneous and adventurous. And so you are bored and you've been in a house, hurry up and get all this energy out before Venus enters Cancer. Venus conjunct Uranus, though, this is a time that you're going to have like a party, and it's going to be very harmonious, and it's very out of the blue. So get ready for that. Venus square Mars and conjunct that South Node. Virgo, watch out for some friction around this time. It could be a little awkward with the interactions. Some people may be too blunt are too reactive and they're not letting go, okay? It's like, we've done this before. Why am I repeating this? That could be happening at a gathering. Now that Neptune and Saturn sextile Venus and that Uranus minor grand trine, a lot of great parties, a lot of positivity, a lot of magical social experiences, okay? Now, as far as having your harmony and your balance, this is going to be clear and witty. There's going to be a lot of emotional, intellectual conversations for you. You're going to be very curious, and you may be learning a lot on how to balance your harmony while Venus is in Gemini. When you have that Venus trining Pluto, there is going to be a lot of healing, a lot of deepness. Even though you're trying to keep it on a surface level, there is still a lot of communication on intensity, on being deep and healing. I don't know how to say that other than therapy, psychology, all that will be discussed, and it's going to give you, this is just going to be a blessing that's going to land on your lap. Now, when Venus will square that Mars, though, be aware of potential for discord, especially if people feel unheard or emotionally neglected. Keep your egos in check and strive for clarity. Now, Venus also is about creativity and it's about aesthetics and beauty. So Venus in Gemini, again, really be attracted to the word, poems, writing, journalism, podcasting, speaking, working with your hands. Gemini loves to do a hand, so anything DIY, crafts, design. So you're going to have that in the aesthetics or the creative department. Even maybe getting your nails in multiple different colors could be a thing. But that Venus conjunct Uranus and sextile, that Saturn and Neptune and that minor grand trine, this is going to be really working well with anything dealing with creativity, anything dealing with beauty. So this is a time to download the worthy ideas and create some innovative, mutable, meaning that it's very adaptable, very flexible energy, okay? So now let's get into the horoscopes. I'm going to pull some tarot cards for each sign, and here are the horoscopes here. And I do advise you to check your sun, moon, and rising to get a full reading. And let's get started. Aries, will first start with you. And we have the Lover's card, and the Lover's card represents Gemini energy, and the Lover's card says that communication and finding harmony and balance is going to be a focus while Venus is in Gemini. We also have another duality here, right? We have the two Sphinx here. We have the Chariot. The Chariot represents Cancer, the focus of the home, the focus of action. This is going to be the time while Venus is in Gemini to have some action in words and to have some action in love too, okay? Now, as far as all of my Taurus. Now, for all my Taurus, we have the Cups, very relationships. Venus in Gemini is going to make you very happy, okay? You're going to be sitting pretty. You're going to have multiple options. You're going to be very fluid, adaptable, anything in any regards to relationships and harmony. And you're going to be sitting very happy, okay? Very positive. For all of my Geminis, we have Venus sitting on top of your sun or any other personal planet, your moon or your rising. And there could be some conflict here, and that could be dealing with that Mercury retrograding. You may regret some arguments here, and when that happens, then we need love. We need to focus on our intuition. We need to focus on romance. We need to focus on our relationship of God, and that will help you, okay? Now, as far as all my Cancers, it's time to walk away from what no longer serves you. You're going to find your harmony and peace, and you're going to find your balance when you walk away from what no longer serves you. Now, Leos, Venus in Gemini is going to bring you some clarity, and I'm probably thinking that, or maybe you're going to naturally attract. God is going to bring some aha moments. It's going to bring some clarity, maybe even written in a written form. Now, as far as all my Virgos, there could be some confusion. You could be shopping too much while Venus is in Gemini, putting your hands into many pots, spending too many things, spending on too many things. Be aware of that. That is a card of materialism, okay? As far as all my Libra signs, this is a time to stay strong. You're at the end of whatever there is. It could be a relationship, but stay strong. Do not give up. This is also the card of fighting the haters. You're on stage, now you got to sit here and fight these haters, and you're probably going to fight them with words, but there's a lot of passion, creativity here when you are fighting the haters. Now, as far as all my Scorpios, we have the Four of Pentacles, and with the Four of Pentacles, it is saying to save your money. Hold on, save your money, okay? Now all my Sagittarius, we have the 9 of Pentacles. This is going to be of taking care of your health, taking time to move slow, okay? Move slow. Venus in Gemini wants to move fast. This is a reminder, time and move slow. And for all my Capricorns, we have the Temperance card. Do everything in moderation. This Venus in Gemini might bring some healing for you. Also Tuesday, that is the card that represents Sagittarius and Jupiter. And all of my Aquarius, we have the 2 of Pentacles. Yeah, you're going to have your hands, you're going to be a lot, you're going to be a lot. Yeah, it's okay because this is a time to multitask, okay? We have the 3 of Pentacles. Yeah, you're going to be collaborating, you're going to be learning youth while Venus is in. So take advantage of all the young energy around you. Also to take advantage of socializing because you're going to be networking, okay? So that is what we have for this video. And the Venus and Gemini energy wants you to stay open. It wants you to stay curious. It wants you to stay adaptable and flexible. This is a time to stay light and don't go so deep. But if it lands in your lap, do accept it because you need to be flexible. Venus in Gemini says be open to conversation because you're going to be naturally attracting that energy. Don't get distracted from what truly brings your harmony. I hope these horoscopes and I hope the tarot resonated with you and you get some guidance out of this while Venus is in Gemini. For even more support, don't forget to join my community. The link is down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you got something out of this content and to write a comment on what you want to see in the future. And until next time, stay radiant, stay aligned. From your favorite tarot reader and astrologer, I am Danyell Carmelita. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.